Alright, today we're going to rewind back to the Danger Pack private test, which contained some units that were completely reworked before release, including the Volcano Snail on screen right now. It actually had an ability very similar to the Melee Tapir, where it would gain health on hurt. To be honest, the main benefit of that ability was the fact that it meant Rollaway Monkey wasn't always going to spawn, mostly tier 3s. But yeah, it was kind of redundant with the Melee Tapir already existing. But the unit that I'm more interested in today is the White-Bellied Heron. So you can see it here, tier 2, it has a different stat line, 2-4, and its ability is completely different. So the way it works is that when a unit faints, it will bring it back, but only during start of battle. So it kind of works like Pteranodon or Mushroom. But you only have that small window of opportunity for it to actually work. So in this battle here, nothing gets knocked out during start of battle, so the Heron does nothing. However, it is of course going to be possible to deliberately engineer a situation where a unit of yours is always getting knocked out at start of battle. And we'll see that soon enough when I find one of the food items, which did end up getting changed before the pack was released. But you could definitely tell that it was designed specifically for this purpose, I would say. Does look like we're going to win here. Yeah, the animations were a little bit different as well. All of that stuff got fine-tuned before release. So we take another Heron. And here I get the White Truffle. So now you can see the White Truffle's original ability was start of battle, jump attack. I think it was the highest health enemy, or maybe it was the highest attack enemy. Either way, what we want to do is for Takushi to attack at start of battle and knock itself out, which it does. And then the Herons bring it back. Of course, there's only space for one of them to spawn, but it is incredibly useful to be able to duplicate the Takushi using only a tier 2 unit. So we'll take the level up here, and yeah, you can see there it says at level 2, so we could only bring back level 1 Takushi with the level 1 Herons, but now we're able to bring it back at level 2. And I'm just going to take the Unagi, since there was nothing else in shop that I wanted. So again, Takushi knocks itself out, and it comes back as a level 1. That's because the Takushi itself was not level 2 yet. I'm trying to think which other pet that is similar to, where it's kind of like capped at the source pet's level. Not coming to mind. But either way, we do find another Heron, so we're going to try and incorporate it into the team. Now I think this unit was clearly designed, well, in my mind this unit was designed to work with a lot of the units from Danger Pack in the stall archetype. So units like Ai and Black Rhino, Pygmy Hippo, things that might get knocked out at the back of your team by Crocodile, the Heron would be able to bring it back. However, it is definitely a bit suspect in terms of power level when you move it over to customs, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with it that I would say is probably not intended. Again, here we don't have space for 2 Takushis to be summoned. And here you can actually see the European Mink had a different ability. It was gaining Peanut and then jump attacking after 8 attacks, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because usually the Peanut will not do very much because all of the big units on the other team have been removed. So now we have the empty space. We can see that the double Heron brings back 2 Takushis, but it's actually bugged. So I think it said there that it would bring them back at level 2, but both of them have come back at level 1. And to be honest, it was probably just as well that this unit was bugged, because I think it would have been a waste of time testing it if it was actually working with the proper ability, because it would be even more ridiculous. So yeah, we're just going to continue with the standard practice of feeding up the tier 1, which I believe is still the case if you actually play Danger Pack competitively now. But it is really funny seeing the double summon, and the fact that it doesn't quite work the same way as Pteranodon. So Pteranodon, it always summons behind, which is really irritating, especially for a unit like Takushi, which needs a pet behind it. But yeah, having the double Heron here doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So we're going to try and be a bit more sensible and combine them together. It would have been nice to be able to get like Swordfish from Red Panda in order to make use of the Heron, but unfortunately we were already at tier 6. And this is the old version of Ostrich, so it's giving the +1/1 stats to everything. But of course this is actually going to be kind of anti-synergistic with the Heron, because if we scale our team up, the Takushi is not going to be able to knock itself out at start of battle. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to bring in the Bay Cat here. Now I think at this point Bay Cat's ability, although it was very similar, it's not quite the same. I think it can summon different pets from other tiers, not just tier 4. I guess we'll see it in action soon enough. So we'll freeze up Kakapo at tier 6. Actually, Kakapo had a different ability on tier 6 as well. I'm not sure if I have footage of that or not, but I guess that might end up being a similar video to this at some point. A bus team on a ghost team. Now, these teams are not actually ghosts. They're teams copied from the live server, and then it just says ghost instead of the player's name. But you could see there that the Bay Cat summoned a hummingbird. So I think Bay Cat was originally any start of battle pet. I guess you can freeze frame it if you want to check the ability there when I hovered over it in the shop. But you could definitely get a much wider range of pets instead of just tier 4s. So here we actually face a fellow tester, and you can see the ailment. I've mentioned this in other videos before. It was called Sticky, that ended up getting removed before the pack went live. And there we go. We get a Thunderbird this time. So it does kind of make me wish that that Baycat had some different spawns, because I think the current pool that it picks from is not the greatest. Yeah, I guess here I'm just double checking what happened. The Takushi's attack got reduced so low. Takushi didn't faint at start of battle, so the Heron did nothing. I'm not actually sure we're going to see the Heron do anything for the rest of this game. But there will be an extra clip at the end to just demonstrate how crazy you can go with this in customs if you really try and build around it. I suppose you could actually still make a team similar to this. You know, you could have Takushi being triggered by something at start of battle. You just wouldn't be able to bring it back with the Heron. You would just have to put Mushroom or Pteranodon on your squad. So yeah, some dull Ostrich gameplay, but at this point we kind of don't really have much of an option. I guess I could transform the Ostrich into something else here with the Chickpea, but it doesn't look like I'm going to do it. Yeah, you can see there actually originally Maple Syrup had infinite triggers. So we do transform and we end up getting the Albatross, which isn't really going to help us since we don't have any transform pets at all. Lots of Cardinal Fish on the go. And I think this team is going to prove way too strong for us. I think actually there you could see that Sufaka was originally adjacent pets instead of pets behind. So Rollaway and Sufaka were both adjacent, which did make them a little bit awkward to position. So here's a quick example from just me testing versus myself. And you can see, you know, a single level 3 Heron, which is a tier 2, brings back the Mammoth, the Nyala, after all of them have been sniped by the Dolphins. So yeah, wouldn't mind seeing a version of this ability come back, but this one was definitely way, way too strong.